Hi everyone, welcome back to Missy's Enchanted Channel. Well, we are finally on part 8 of True Tales of Ghostly Encounters because I know I haven't did this in a while because I've been doing the weekly tarot reading, relationship readings and all that. So I'm finally getting back to the True Tales of Ghostly Encounters. So yeah. All right. Let's get to it. All right. A walk in the park. 8 years ago, my newlywed husband and I were enjoying exploring the quaintness of our adopted state and found ourselves at an outdoor art show. It was a glorious fall afternoon, and the park was packed with vendors showing their wares. For Vermont, the event had drawn a good crowd of people. I remember feeling so happy and carefree, walking casually about. I looked out ahead, people watching, and a familiar face jumped out from the others. A chill of what I thought was recognition ran through me. From scalp to fingertips and down to my toes, some 50 feet before me was my first love, Frank. But it couldn't be. He lived in New Mexico now. I knew it could not be him, but it was. He was walking right to me. I suddenly felt at ease and strangely calm. I reached out to my husband, who was but an arm's length away. At that moment, I was stunned as my old flame walked seemingly right into me. I felt nothing but a wave of peace and contentment. My husband had turned to see why I had paused, and I beseeched him. Did you see that? That was Frank. I turned to point out the man that had just passed, but he was gone. He disappeared. I felt a need to follow in the direction that Frank had gone. We ended up across the street from the park in a used bookstore. It had been a huge house originally, and we wandered from room to room browsing. I felt that I was searching for something but didn't know what it could be. In a dark hallway was a single bookcase, filled with dusty volumes that time had forgotten. One which called to me. I picked it out and opened it to find a pressed four-leaf clover among the pages. A chill ran through me once again as I read the title page. Natural Law in the Spirit World. I bought the book. A week later, I received word that Frank had passed away the very day that I saw him in the park. I believed that he had come to say goodbye and make sure that I was happy in my life, assuring me good luck with the four-leaf clover and trying to give me understanding of life and death through the book. Heather Fryashki, Roanoke, Virginia, September 2000. That'd be kind of weird, not seeing someone for like the longest time and everything, and then you finally see him and then come to find out he passed away. Well, at least he said goodbye, right? All right, your thoughts in the comments below. All right, now we're going to be reading Sister Goodbye. My sister Lavis was 18 years old when I was born in Auburn, Missouri. There were no other children between us. Lavis and I had a relationship more like mother and daughter than like sisters, and even her death hasn't been able to sever that bond. As I grew up, married, and followed my sailor husband to various stations around the world, our bond remained. If she was sick, I suffered her aches and pains. If she was happy, I felt happy. When she was depressed, I too would experience an emotional down. Our frequent letters confirm this empathy. In 1962, my sister learned that she was dying of cancer. At that time, she was living in Watsonville, California, and I was living in Washington, D.C. When the news reached me, I immediately left for California. I drove to Missouri, packed my mother and younger brother into the car with my own two children, and we made what I thought was to be my last visit to my sister. The disease finally took its toll, and Lavis left her earthly body on February 16th, 1963, shortly after her 41st birthday. Her remains were returned to Missouri for burial. The weather in Missouri had been balmy and warm until the day of Lavis's funeral. That day, the temperature dropped to 40 degrees. The flowers froze the instant they were placed around her grave, and I was beside myself with grief, agonizing inwardly because she was being placed in the hard, cold ground. It seemed so unfair that she had only those brief 41 years on this earth. The family members returned to our parents' home and we sat reminiscing quietly until late that night. I had been asleep for maybe 2 hours when suddenly I found myself wide awake. I heard the front door quietly open and close. This seemed strange because no one else was up and the door had been dead-bolted from the inside. Then I once again felt that bone-chilling coldness I had felt at the cemetery. My heart began to pound and I broke into a cold sweat. Softly but distinctly, I could hear a steady footfall coming to my bedroom. As the footsteps approached nearer and nearer, I lay literally paralyzed with fear. Then I saw her in the doorway. It was my sister. She was wearing the same dress she'd been buried in, and she was looking at me and smiling. Slowly, she approached my bed and looked down at me. She leaned over and placed her hands on the covers at my shoulders. I could feel the icy cold of her touch. She kissed me softly on each cheek and said, "I just came to say goodbye. Don't be afraid. I'm not taking you with me. I would be so happy when you can come and be with me. Always remember that I love you." Then she straightened up, turned around, and quietly walked out, leaving by the same door she had used when she entered. The next morning, I got up before the rest of the family and hurried to the front door. It was still dead-bolted from the inside. No one could possibly have entered the house that way the night before. I didn't share the experience with anyone for several years. I even convinced myself that it was just a dream. When I finally told Dad about the strange occurrence, saying that I thought it must have been a dream, I saw that his eyes misted over. No, it was no dream. I heard the door and the footsteps too, but I couldn't get out of bed. It was as if I was tied down, but I'm not at all surprised that she went to see you. She loved you more than anybody else in this world, and if she could say goodbye to any of us, it would have been you. Through the years, I've never felt totally alone because I can still hear her soft voice telling me that she will be so happy when I can come and be with her. Bond's Writings, Burbank, California, May 1983. Aw, that's so sweet. To have such a bond like that with your sister is awesome, which I actually have a bond with my sister, so I kind of sort of relate. All right, I'm going to read one more. It's called Gramps Kept His Promise. In the fall of 1943, I climbed into my old Ford to visit a friend who had recently lost her father-in-law. The funeral had taken place 4 months before I had been too ill to attend. As I drove along, I began to realize how much Ruth and her 6 children would miss Gramps, for he had been their right-hand man. He always prepared the vegetables for dinner and helped with the dishes. He was such a cheerful person, too. Now he had enjoyed his prank of untying Ruth's apron at inopportune moments. Inopportune moments. God, I can't spit it out, guys. Sorry. I recalled my last visit to the modest farmhouse on Route 1 out of Kokomo, India. Gramps had hinted that his time was growing short, but had vowed to return after death, if possible. I turned into the narrow lane bordered with petunias and parked the car as usual at the side entrance. After kicking my way through colorful leaves, I rapped on the door. There was no answer. I rapped again and again. Suddenly, the door burst open. Ruth, white-faced and shaking, drew me inside. "Mary, am I ever glad to see you? I've just had the most frightening experience." Ruth told me she had just finished ironing in the living room and was carrying an armful of clothing to her bedroom. When she reached the doorway, she felt a slight tug on her apron strings. Her apron fell to the floor. After taking 2 or 3 steps into the bedroom, she turned about, puzzled. There, framed in the doorway, was Gramps with his familiar one-sided smile and his ever-present red bandana dangling from his jacket. The two surveyed each other for a moment. "Is it really you, Gramps?" Ruth had whispered. The figure nodded its head, smiled wistfully, and then faded from view. Ruth, motionless with amazement, finally realized someone was knocking on the kitchen door. Gathering all her courage, she dashed to let me in. As she finished telling me this, I looked past her into the living room. There, in the doorway to her bedroom, lay her crumpled apron. Mary J. Arnett, Euclid, Ohio, December 1964. Wow. Yeah, that's all I can say today is wow. I love these stories. It just shows you that there is something other than death out there. So, something to look forward to, you know? All right, guys, I hope you enjoy this. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Oh, quick note, or shall I say side note. What do you guys think about that Randonort? I think it's called Randonauting or something like that. Let me know what you think about it. I guess it's some kind of things that people just go around doing, whether it's I don't know, you think of something, whether it's scary, weird, or something good or whatever. It goes by your intentions, or I don't know. It's just new right now, and I was just wondering what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments. I'm just like trying to get some information about it. All right, guys. Stay safe. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. And don't forget to share. Bye, guys. Keep smiling. Mwah. See you later.